Hey guys, how's it going? Um, wanted to put this video out there because I think this is some very powerful information that's gonna benefit you immensely. You know, most of the times why people fail at eating healthier diets, changing any lifestyle habit, making more money, is because of this simple little framework here. And there's a lot more depth to it than what I'm going to go into this, because that could take hours and hours and hours. But this is going to give you some fundamental things is why you're stuck, why you feel like you can't get ahead, why no matter what you do, especially with your health, it feels like you're spinning your wheels. Maybe you lose some weight, you gain it back, you gain more. You just can't keep those healthy lifestyle habits. This is one of the big reasons why. So what I have up here is a little three-system kind of framework. Is we have our identity, who we are, right? Who am I? And there's a lot of feeling around that. And the feeling, we're going to get into that. That's very important. The identity or feeling leads to beliefs. I got different beliefs up here, which we'll go through. And then those beliefs lead to our actions. So at the core of everything we do is stemming from who we or what we identify as, which is huge. And that's why you're stuck, is because you're trying to change your actions, but you're never changing your identity. So what happens is you keep trying to change this all. Okay, I overeat, so I'm gonna stop overeating. But guess what? You still identify as an overeater. So guess what? Eventually you're gonna start overeating again. You get here to this fundamental thing right here, identity. You change that, you can change anything in your life. So let's go over that real quick. So identity leads to who am I, and what influences who you are is there's lots of different things that influences who you are, and this is really important. And this is what I deal with clients every day as part of their healing. And this is the thing that's often overlooked in most healing, whether trying to heal from physical ailments or mental emotional ailments. And I'm trying to bring it all together so you can heal mind, body, and spirit. Is you have to take into these things into account. You know, what was your childhood like? Do you have any traumas? What was your family like? Friends? How did they influence you? Because all these things influence who you are today. Now, one thing I want you to remember is kind of your feelings, your behaviors. Those aren't really who you are. Those are learned things. Who you are is a really powerful being with infinite potential. And I want you to get you to remember that. So let's go through some of this right here. Childhood. So some of the things I see come up from childhood, you have all kinds of different things. But one thing I had the other day, for example, with a client was struggling with weight issues, and her brother used to always call her fat or a pig or any of these things. You know, we started digging into these things. This person's in their 30s at this point. Started asking a couple questions about it. She started bursting out into tears because she still identifies, even though she's in her 30s, like 30 plus years later, she still identifies as what her brother called her as a fat pig. So think about that. What are things that you have from your childhood, from your parents, that you identify as? I've seen things with divorce, like people can definitely around divorce turn into perfectionists, or if they were perfectionists, they can make it even worse because they want to make things right, and they feel like they couldn't make things right with their marriage, so with their parents' marriage, so they're gonna make everything else right. Okay, let's talk about weight, for example, because this is a big one with a lot of people I work with. And you got to realize it's not really about the weight. The reason you can't lose the weight or go up and down the weight isn't because you don't know good things to eat. Pretty much everyone knows good things to eat and what you need to do to lose weight. There's a reason though that you're not following through. And we can talk about what's ideal nutrition and all that, and there's lots of depth we can get into that. But we're just going to keep it simple for this. It's not because of a lack of knowledge, it's because your identity. Now, your identity can be that, let's use an example, I can't reach my goal weight. Maybe since you were a kid, you've had struggles with your weight. Or maybe you had an accident, which made it very hard to lose weight. Or maybe you got older, now it's just hard to lose weight. Most of the time, I find it's kind of a lifelong thing, but there's all kinds of things. There's things like maybe you have tons of stress in your life, tons of family stress, job stress, and that's led you to gain a lot of weight. And you have literally all this weight on you, and what that leads to is overeating, like stress eating, self-sabotage. So I made a plan to go to the gym, but I felt tired today, so I'm not going to go to the gym. all these things start coming up. But if you try to attack it right here in the action section, try to improve that, it's only going to be temporary, because your identity is still, I can't lose weight, I'm an overweight person, I view myself as an overweight person. Do you know what it feels like to identify with someone who is their ideal weight? Like, what would that feel like? I want you to think about that right now. What would it feel like to be at your ideal weight? And you see here under identity, I have feeling. You have to change your identity, and part of changing your identity around it is changing your feeling around it. So if you can now I identify as someone who's their ideal weight, and you start feeling that, and you start feeling that every day, all of a sudden, you get a new belief. And we're going to install two beliefs. So you can have a reframe here. What I have over here is, I love and accept myself as I am. So one key thing here is losing the judgment towards yourself. We'll often go through failure, what we call as failure. We'll make a poor food choice, for example. That's not failure, it's just part of the process. You start reframing that failure into part of the process, part of the journey, your whole viewpoint around it changes, and you start to actually keep these healthy habits. It's not about being perfect, and you'll get better and better and get where you want. What usually happens, we try to go to this perfect place of eating perfectly, and maybe we can sustain that for a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months, and then we go back to our way of eating and we gain all that weight back. Instead, you start making these slow, steady habits, and number one, you change your identity of what you identify as. That's going to make it just all more natural, and you can just use a couple of strategies. But when you come from this root cause here versus this is what we call like a branch, everything works out. And that goes for things like, I never have enough time, common one, right? Especially in today's age. I never have enough time to do things. I can't get things done. Time just goes so fast. And again, that's an identity issue. And there's a lot of things, identity issues that can be around there. Maybe you're trying to create a business and you're like, oh, I don't have enough time to get all these things done. I'm working a full-time job, I have kids, whatever. And those are all true factors, but at the end of the day, they're all excuses, because what it is an identity issue, and it could be around fear of success, or not feeling good enough to put things out there, or not feeling like you can express yourself. And that can all go to a child. If maybe your parents told you, hey, it's not okay to feel your feelings, it's not okay to share those emotions. And it could have been perfectly innocent, but now in your subconscious you feel, hey, it's not okay to do this, and now I'm going to self-sabotage myself, and I'm going to pretend that I don't have enough time, even though that's really not true. And then that leads to wasting time, procrastination. Perfectionism is a big one in there. You know, I can't get these things done because they need to be perfect. Again, that's just another lie we tell ourselves based on our identity. Things like, I can never get ahead. There's nothing I can do about this disease. This one is one that absolutely kills me, because the difference between a person that actually overcomes their diagnosis and the one that doesn't is this belief. You can be doing all the right things, eating as healthy as you want, and if you don't believe that you can overcome that disease and it's not going to just keep progressing, you're really just not going to overcome it. And that's just plain and simple how it is. And likewise, you know, you can have all the beliefs in the world, but if you're not combining it with nutrition and practical steps, that's not going to do it either. You need the whole picture, and that's why I'm talking about the mind, body, and spirit. Another one, everyone always treats me poorly. I see that a lot with people, like, you know, why are people always treating me bad? Why does this always happen to me? And if you really self-examine, you're going to realize you have an identity issue around that, feeling like you have low self-worth, like you don't treat yourself well, you don't love yourself. So how is anyone else going to treat you well? They're just going to treat you typically what you believe about yourself. So it's kind of a reflection of yourself. And sometimes this stuff is hard to hear, but it's the truth. And if you really listen to it and take it in, you know that it's the truth. Another one on here, because this was mentioned to me, is, you know, I never have enough money, or I can't seem to get enough money, and all those things. And those, again, can come, I see that a lot from childhood, like maybe your family struggled with money. Maybe you have an issue where you pretty much lost everything and now you just want to hoard everything tight, which is you start to stop giving out, you start to keep everything in. And basically you need this flow of giving and receiving, giving out, whether it's your money, your time, your service, and then also receiving that back, and you need the flow. So sometimes actually, let's put this here, this is actually a receiving issue. Actually, a lot of this is a receiving issue. We can give all day, and I see this a lot with people, especially people who are struggling with chronic pain and chronic health issues. We can give till we're blue in the face to others, but one, we can never give to ourselves, never take time for ourselves, and two, we actually never receive from others. We don't receive compliments. We don't receive gifts well. We don't receive money well. So that's something that you can practice and, reframe. I have a couple things here, like I have an abundance of money, for example, or I easily, receive high amounts of money at all times and all places in every way, shape, and form. And then the key thing is, though, once you're reframing these, and there's ways to dig in these on a very deep level, once you've reframed these, you need to feel it so you can, once you feel it, you can actually reprogram to your proper identity. Now you can be someone who always has enough money. You can be someone who is their ideal weight. You can be someone who always has enough time. You can be someone who's constantly ahead. You can be someone that no longer has your disease diagnosis. All these things can come to pass when you change your identity, because it's not just about belief. It's not like some of that stuff where you, I just believe it, it'll come true. No. You change your identity, which leads to new beliefs, which leads to new actions. So if you say, I love and accept myself where I am at, and I continue to make healthy habits, and my health continues to improve, and I am a healthy person, then what's going to happen? You get that belief there, then now you start to make better food choices, naturally. You stop self-sabotaging. You get more exercise. You take more time for yourself. You say yes where you need to say yes in your life. You say no where you need to say no in your life. And all those things start coming to pass. But it all starts right here with identity. If you can get your identity and feel it, that's where the magic's going to happen. So my action step for you is to find where your current identity is around your current issue, whatever your problem is, whether it's the weight, money, and it can be multiple. Find that, change the identity to what you want. So if you want to be your ideal weight, what does that look like? What does that feel like? What size jeans are you wearing? Who are you with? How do you feel? Do you feel more confident? Do you feel just when you walk outside, like people are looking at you, they're like, oh, that person looks amazing. And then you're going to write what that looks like and write it down. And you're going to write it in the present tense. So you say, I am my ideal weight and I've never felt better. I feel amazing. I have so much energy. I feel so confident when I go out. I always get, stares of people looking at me because, and this doesn't have to be, that's not egotistical. It can be true that they're looking at me because, I feel so attractive and I'm able to put out this great energy. Or, it feels so great to be able to pay all my bills and have all this extra money so I can travel and do the things I love. And you write that down, and you're going to start practicing feeling those statements and paragraphs that you make every single day. And if you just use this simple framework, this will make huge changes in your life, and you'll actually start realizing some of the goals that you've been feeling stuck with. This is one part. There's more to it. This is one big part of how you get unstuck and get what you want when it comes to your health and your life. All right? So Chris signing out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Feel free to comment. Ask any questions. Love to answer any of them for you. All right, awesome.